fearfully woke up as I felt a hand touching my breast slowly. I held the hand tightly to know who it was. Favor, it's me. Just chill. Keep silent. Mariam, my roommate, whispered to me. I was shocked. Does it mean she's a lesbian? My parents trusted her so much. That was why they pleaded for me to stay with her till they could get money to rent my own room for me. Her dad was also a pastor. That was what gave my parents the full confidence to allow me to stay with her. What is it, Mariam? I asked shockingly, and she told me that she just wants to have sex with me. Mariam, are you really with your senses? What have come over you? I shouted. Nothing have come over me. I just want to have a taste of you tonight, she told me, and brought out her phone and started playing porn. I wanted to tell her to remove the video, but it became more interesting. I've been hearing about sex, but haven't seen people indulge in it. The girl in the video was moaning with excitement. Does it mean that sex is a sweet experience? I asked Mariam, and she told me that it was very sweet experience, especially when done with energetic guys like the one in the video. I listened with rapt attention, and before I knew what was happening, she started touching my breast again and going down to my vagina too. I became so weak to resist her, so she continued and went ahead to undress me completely. I enjoyed every bit of what she was doing to me till she brought out what she described as a sex toy. I was about asking her what it was for before she started putting it in and out of my body. The experience was quite painful. I kept moaning in pain till she was satisfied. I was surprised to see a lot of blood on my body and bed, but she told me it's because it's my first time. Next time, I won't have such experience again. I cleaned myself up and we went back to bed. These were the things my parents warned me about before I packed to school, but I don't actually know what suppressed my power to resist. I shedded tears, regretted what I did, and promised never to indulge in such acts again. But Marian kept pestering me for it, so before I knew what was happening, I became addicted to sex. That even when Mariam is not around, I will masturbate. I kept practicing it in a way that I insert almost everything I see inside my body for pleasure every moment of the day. One day, I had a terrible dream. An ugly, fat, scary man came to me, telling me that since all I need is sex, he will always satisfy me both spiritual and physical, that he is ready to protect and cater for my needs too. All he wants from me is to never have anything to do with men. I fearfully woke up, panting like a chased dog. Then I realized that my underwear was on the ground, something I slept with. How come? Who removed it? Mariam is not around, so who? As I was lost in thought about this, I heard a voice saying, I am your spiritual husband. I am one of the spirits in charge of masturbators. You don't need bothering yourself about masturbating, for I am here to satisfy you. I will take care of all your need. I will stay clear and cater for you, but stay clear of men. Exactly the same thing the man said in the dream. I frighteningly ran out of the room while it laughed. It became obvious to me that I now had a spiritual husband. I also heard of the dangers of having a spiritual husband. If I had known, I would never indulge in masturbation. To be continued. It was not really easy for me having an affair with such creatures, but who will I run to? Each time I tried to resist him, he would always beat me to stupor, telling me that I dare not resist him from having anything to do with me. He also warned me that I should never tell anyone, especially my parents, about him unless he would kill me. All this made me to keep everything to myself. I was a very brilliant student, but since this man came into my life, everything about me changed. I started performing so badly in school, having carryover constantly. At the end of our last semester, I went home. Though my mom noticed that I was acting strange, but I always maintained that all was well with me. And did stop coming even in my parents' house. Sometimes he comes with money and other gift items. He was indeed caring as he promised, but I can't love someone from another world, a spirit at that. One day, as I was going to the market to buy foodstuff, two huge men rushed out of the bush and forcefully dragged me into the bush. So you are back, said one of the huge men with a threatening voice. You know you have been avoiding to give us what we need from you, but today we will have to forcefully take it, the other man said. I don't actually know them because the two guys had their faces covered with marks. I was laying helplessly, pleading for mercy, but they paid deaf ears to my pleading. I was shocked that all of a sudden someone invisible started slapping them one after the other till they finally collapsed. I wanted to take to my heel, but the spirit man appeared, obstructing my way. and I realized he was responsible for what just happened. I'm a jealous lover, and any man that dares to come close to you will never go scot free, he said and immediately disappeared. I took to my heel without even remembering my footwears. It was when I got to the market that a lady confronted me about it. It was really embarrassing. I thought of going back, but that would be stressful. Walking barefoot around the market was also discouraging. While I was standing there, bemused of what to do, the voice came again. Look back and take your footwear. I looked back and I saw it. It really amazed me. I wore it and started buying what I came for. The spirit man was really being nice, but it was not of God, and I cannot continue having an affair with him. After about 4 days of staying in my parents' house, I met Richard. He was a very good friend of mine, though it's been a long time we saw each other. He was a very nice guy. Let me just say I was having feelings for him till we lost contact. He too loved me, but we kept it to ourselves. We did try to pour our hearts to each other. We embraced each other and exchanged contacts. He was very happy to see me. I was not left out. My happiness knew no bound. Immediately I got home and opened our door because my parents went to their workplace. All I saw was the man looking at me. Why did you hug that man? He asked me angrily. He is just an old friend I met today, I replied, because I've learned not to fear him again. He immediately slapped and started beating me mercilessly till he was satisfied. If you ever talk or have anything to do with that man again, you will see. He warned me and disappeared. I lay down crying bitterly, thinking of what to do to liberate myself from him. As I was crying, my mom came in. At first, I didn't even notice her presence because I was deeply lost in thought. Favor, why are you crying? She asked, and I quickly jumped up from the bed in fear, only to realize it was her. Mom, nothing. I was just praying to God for help, I replied. Okay, my daughter, stop crying. God will see us through. She consoled and told me she came to collect what she forgot. The incident didn't stop me from talking with Richard. We kept interacting with each other till the day he made his intentions open to me. He told me that he loved me and wished to marry me. I quickly accepted the offer without hesitations because I already loved him. I told my parents about him and they immediately gave their approval because they knew him from our church. I was happy, but the problem was the spirit man. I was afraid of what would be the outcome because I knew he must react. That very day, he appeared to me again. You think you're stubborn, but I want to tell you to decline that marriage unless you will not like what I'll do to you and the so called man. You are my wife, and you already have 3 children in the spirit world for me. So don't dare me, he warned, and disappeared. I was speechless. I kept praying that God should intervene. I so much love Richard. Is it the spirit man that will stand as an obstacle to me? Nevertheless, I made up my mind to act fast to secure the marriage. Spiritual husband remained my worst fear. Yes, he was compassionate as he promised, but I can't love someone from another world, the spirit. I was becoming 23 years at this point and I was still single, despite having numerous suitors. The village elders and so many other people kept whispering that I had a spiritual husband, a malevolent spirit, who tormented me and prevented me from finding true love. And they were right. Every day, my existence became increasingly wired. At night, I was awoken by cold presence alongside me. He came practically every night. My dreams were filled with visions of my spiritual husband. He would whisper harsh things and warning, making me feel unworthy of love if I sought to associate with any guy. I don't know who else to turn to for assistance. He threatened to kill me if I told anyone about him, including my parents. The hardest part was that any night I bound and casted him was the same night knocking would be my worst. Yet I didn't give up on my praying. I kept praying. A few days later, Richard came to the front door as I was in the kitchen making dinner after coming from the market. He was there on a visit and had brought a few gifts for me. I was happy. My feelings for Richard were unbounded, given that my spiritual husband had previously warned me against dating any man. I had to face the fact that deep down, I was either risking Richard's life or mine at the particular moment. My mom was overjoyed to see Richard that day. He had come so we could talk about the next meeting with my family and his, and he spent almost the entire day with us. Despite this, I was no longer afraid of my spiritual husband because I had started spending more time in prayer. He hadn't showed up for the past 2 days, so I knew that this powerful weapon called prayer was truly working. It was time for him to go when I escorted him down the road. He gave me the nicest kiss I have ever felt, waving me goodbye, and took an Uber and left. Back home, I kept visualizing every moment at the bus stop with Richard. Finally, my life has a meaning, I told myself. It wasn't until an hour later that I received this call. When I picked, from what I had on the phone, I let out a loud scream and fainted.